Zacks Rank Buys, stocks with a short-term buy or strong buy recommendation. Now, here are more Zacks Rank Buys. An engineering services company and a gold giant are a couple of value stock picks that Tracey Ryniec, our value stock strategist, wants you to know about. She's here with me now to elaborate on each one. Actually, it's an engineering and construction services company, KBR. KBR, the ticker symbol.
Yeah, they are interesting because they do more of the infrastructure play. And I know I've covered a couple of these recently, and they're another one that is big in the hydrocarbon, oil, natural gas area. Okay. And that is the area that is, boosting them right now. They did report second quarter results in July. It wasn't, they beat, but it wasn't like super stellar. Revenue actually did decline, which I haven't covered many that have had that happen. But in their hydrocarbon segment, which is their biggest segment, it was up 10%. And their backlog is big, and it's been staying, high in almost across all of their segments. So they're not seeing a downturn in what's coming forward for them, and they actually raised guidance quite substantially up to between $2.60 and $2.85, whereas earlier in the year they were right around $2. So all the estimates are rising because the analysts got caught off guard by the raising of the guidance. So you can see it jumping quite a bit, and this is like earnings growth of over 30% compared to last year. So this is a good development for this kind of company, given that everyone is saying we're in the slowdown, but this kind of infrastructure construction company is not really seeing it. And then the chart is also interesting because they've had this big rally, and then they've clearly broken down off of that in this last 2 months sell-off. But this does create a buying opportunity for this kind of company. They're trading only about 11 times forward estimates here, and so they're pretty cheap, and it looks attractive.
Okay. And then that gold giant is Barrick Gold Corp, ABX, the ticker symbols. Company's been around forever.
Yeah, and I've talked about them before, so this is kind of just a follow-up on them. They are Zacks number 2 now. I think the last time I talked about them, they were Zacks number 1. But still a buy stock, and you can see why, because they are cheap, and gold continues to soar. These guys are actually in gold, silver, and copper. They just completed an acquisition of a quite large copper company for about a little over $7 billion. So they're going to have the copper angle too, but gold is still their main driving force, and they're unhedged on their complete production. So every time gold goes up, it's good for them. In the second quarter, they beat estimates and actually saw their cash margin on both gold and copper rise again. I think on their average for their gold production, it was a little over $1,500 an ounce, and then a year ago it was a little over $1,200 an ounce. And who knows, going like this quarter, we've seen gold above $1,800, touching $1,900. So we could see that elevate again. So the estimates recently, actually in the last week, have been really jumping here. I think the analysts see gold is staying high, they're unhedged, they can get it out of the ground, they're not in real risky parts of the world. So, and energy prices are staying somewhat regular. At least they're able to manage their energy prices here. So the estimates are all rising. They're supposed to see earnings growth of about 44% this year, which is pretty good considering last year was also a good year to be a gold miner. The stock has been kind of interesting though. They've been trading like back and forth throughout this whole year, and they haven't really been able to get a breakout, but they've been kind of testing this 52-week high recently. So we'll see if they can get above that, depending on what the price of gold does. It does trade a lot with the price of gold. They're not expensive. As I said, they're trading about 11 times. That's pretty cheap for them. And they do pay a dividend, which is about 1%. So they are giving back to shareholders. There's been rumors that them and some other big gold mining companies could be paying more out to shareholders as the cash comes in, but we'll just kind of have to wait and see on that.
All right. In the meantime, do you own either of these two?
I do not.
Check out more stock pick ideas for yourself on our homepage, Zacks.com, if you're not there already. In case you're accessing this video from outside of our website, we put 4 new stock pick ideas up for you daily on Zacks.com, one in each of the investing categories that we write about. With Tracey, I'm Terry Ruffalo.